good Wednesday morning. Not a fun night in New York baseball. A loss for the Mets down in Houston where they were overmatched with starting pitching. And the Yankees trying to claw back. Even in their losses, they are losing by about 5 feet as Aaron Judge almost ties the game in the Yankees' last at-bat last night, sending one to the warning track. And speaking of Aaron Judge, the arbitration hearing gets pushed back a couple days. And apparently, according to reports, as we sit here right now, the Yankees are not relenting, and they are sticking to that $17 million when Aaron Judge is asking for 21. So they're actually going to haggle over $4 million. Yep. It's crazy. We got a good one for you today. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
All right. Good morning, Gage. You can tell the voice is still just a little shaky this morning. I'm feeling a little bit better. Finally got my taste back. Now, I don't know if I got my taste back because that was just one of the symptoms that I had with this COVID lately, or it was just because I was so congested. So I'm not really sure. But it was nice to be able to taste my puffins this morning.
Your puffins?
So, yeah, my puffins. So that's a cereal that I like to eat. So it was
interesting. I don't think I've ever had puffins.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you saw them at Cinderella. So
I thought you were actually eating the bird. Like you went out there and you shot it with a beagle.
No, it's a cereal. It's called Puffins.
Puffins cereal. Okay.
All right. So anyway, I could actually taste it this morning with my blueberries. So I think it's a step in the right direction. There's without question. You know, the other thing about this Aaron Judge arbitration hearing, it was supposed to be today. Today was supposed to be Judgment Day. To Aaron Judge's credit, he said all the right things yesterday about, wanting to remain with the team, loves the team, all the things that you would expect him to say. And then he also said, what about the distraction in regards to, this arbitration hearing? Will you be participating in it? He goes, I'm going to be on the Zoom call for sure. I'm going to hear about it, and which is going to create some, I'm sure, hurt feelings because it's just a natural thing as players go through this. But he said, this is part of the business of baseball, and I recognize that. A lot of other players have gone through it. If, in fact, he does go through it, it will have no effect on my attempt to lead this team to the World Series this year. And I really give him credit for being a professional. Another reason why, this guy is the face of your franchise. He's handling this thing amazingly well. I guess it's just part of the baseball kind of world that they have to go through, and they understand that. But again, I cannot reiterate enough my support for a local athlete that was drafted and developed by the team that presently has him on the team. And I would just say that I hope that everything gets cleared up and he comes out of this arbitration hearing or either with a new contract extension or at least a guy that has a chip on his shoulder and will ultimately even have more motivation now to prove to the Yankees and everybody else that he's one of the top 5 players in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like the Yankees are going to give him a new contract. It doesn't sound like they're even going to give him the $21 million. It sounds like they're going to settle in and fight for the 17 so they can save the $4 million this year. That's what it sounds like. And if that is the case, I mean, that's just absolutely pathetic. It is. I know luxury tax stuff. I know that you're worried about that. A lot of teams are worried about that. Steve Cohen seems to be the only one who's not worried about that, and I don't know if that's going to change at some point. But honestly, and I know that this is based on his performance prior to this year. This arbitration hearing, nothing that he is doing this year is going to come into play. It's all prior to this year. Maybe the Yankees bring up, he wasn't healthy or this or that, or when he was healthy, it took him a while to come back and look at the numbers, and he hasn't been the same player since 2017. Maybe some of that stuff comes up. But, I mean, honestly, if you're not factoring in what he has done this year and you're just saying, all right, we went through a contentious contract negotiation that went all the way up to opening day. We weren't able to get a deal done. This arbitration hearing is coming up. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a long-term deal done, but we can give him the extra $4 million. Can't we, Hal? Can't we?
The interesting thing is that when you do read about the arbitration process, it even though we feel the way we do, this process is limited to what he was coming into the season and has nothing to do with what's going on this season. So, there are human emotions involved here. There's money involved here. There's all sorts of side angles involved here. When the Yankees basically let it be known that they did offer him a contract on opening day, I thought that was dirty pool. I really did. I thought that, here's opening day. You want to celebrate opening day. You'd like to have your best player get off to a great start. And then next thing you know, he's in there answering questions about why he didn't accept the contract extension from the Yankees.
Yeah.
So that,
Brian
that's
Cashman
all.
had to do that from a PR standpoint, though, because you remember we talked so much about how that offseason went for the Yankees and the fans at that point. This was prior to their unbelievable start. The fans were ready to pounce on the organization. You cheaped out at first base. You cheaped out at shortstop. Now you're telling me you're cheaping out and you're not getting the job done and paying Aaron Judge. So when they put out the numbers there, the reaction was at that time, though it has changed, but the reaction was Aaron Judge is crazy for not taking that guaranteed money. That's what it was. And then we both believed it was a fair deal. The story has changed since then. There's no doubt about it with his performance and his health this year. But I feel like the Yankees, Brian Cashman, had to do that because of how much bad press he was taking for the offseason that had already happened. Now, it's turned out to work out great for the Yankees, but at that particular moment in time, he was not exactly looked upon favorably by the fan base.
Well, and he handled that one deftly as well. I mean, like a total professional. And all I can tell you is that everything from the player standpoint, he's hit it. He's hit home run after home run after home run, not only on the field, but off the field and handling all of this. So I still think that there are scars from that at the beginning of opening day, and whether Aaron Judge understands that Brian Cashman had to do what you said he did and why he did it, I don't know. Is maybe Aaron Judge's agent is upset by that. You never know that part of it. We're looking at it from, maybe 10,000 feet saying this is what the Yankee fan wanted to hear. So maybe the extension here from today until Friday, I don't know, maybe it gives them some more room to possibly negotiate a long-term extension. I'm not sure. But I know that if the Yankees went to go sell the franchise today, believe you me, when they were sitting down with the bankers to decide who was going to buy the Yankees, the last thing that the Yankees would be discussing with the potential buyer is a luxury tax. Oh, you're paying every single goddamn dollar that we want from you because our franchise is worth $10 billion. Mm-hmm. So every time I hear the Yankees or some team in a major market like the Mets, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Giants, the Angels, the Cubs, any of those teams ever complain about the luxury tax, I just say to myself, how much is that team worth if they go to sell it? And when they sit down to go to sell it, they're going to try to extract every single penny out of the potential buyer. So this is where the player lies. The player lies, wait a minute now, hold on. This team is worth this much money, and I'm very thankful to be here, a part of this team. Love the Yankee legacy, love everything you're selling to the fan base and to Major League Baseball, and I understand you're one of the signature franchises in this country. But at the end of the day, I have to take care of me. And I don't want to, we decided that we thought that the contract was good enough for Aaron Judge. But when you put it in that context, you should be saying, and we should be saying, that Aaron Judge should get every single dollar that he potentially can get. And he's taking a chance by not signing that extension, and he's betting on himself. And I'm believing his agent is telling him, if the Yankees don't want to pay you this much money right now, then this is what I can get for you on the open market. And not only will we make up the money that we're turning down right now, we'll make even more money. So Aaron is proving it on the field. Hopefully the agent will prove it in the negotiations.
Yeah, I think it's gotten to the point now where if he hits free agency, I think there is almost no doubt that another team will offer more than the Yankees are going to offer. With the way that this has played out to this point, where you had the initial contract offer at the beginning of the season, the fact that they still have not relented to this morning. Now, this could change, but as of this morning, they have still not gotten off that $17 million. To me, this is hurtling towards the Giants, the Angels, the Mets potentially. Somebody
how
is going
about
to offer
the
a
Red
bigger
Sox?
The Red Sox. Somebody's going to offer a bigger contract to Aaron Judge than the Yankees do. And if he wants to remain a Yankee, he'll probably have to take a hometown discount because I feel like they are sticking to their guns with this one. It just, I mean, you have been given zero evidence to the contrary.
Well, this is the collateral damage that the Stanton contract has, that the Cole contract has. It's great to have those guys on the team. And when they signed each of those guys, everybody was going crazy over the fact that the Yankees were able to acquire Judge and then sign Garrett Cole. And now here comes, we want to give a legitimate offer, and Yankees are kind of cutting hairs here. And I just think that, they're playing a game that I personally think leads to Aaron Judge going somewhere else, or the Yankees paying even more money because they don't want to lose him to somebody like a Steve Cohen or somebody like the Giants or the Red Sox or the Cubs, somebody that would love to have a marquee player to help improve season ticket sales, which would then increase sponsorship revenue and TV viewing watching. So that's the type of player he is right now.
Yeah, I'd love to know what Aaron Judge was asking for before the season and then what that number changes to by the end of the season, and how the Yankees probably would have paid that number that he was asking for before the season at the end of the season, but now aren't going to pay the number that he's asking for after the season, if that makes sense to follow.
I always think there's one thing, unfortunately, that goes against Aaron Judge, and it's his age. It's the only thing. I mean, if he were 27 years old, this thing would be, I think it would be done and over with, and the Yankees would have signed him. But the fact that he's 30 and the fact that he got started late and he spent 3 years in college, it's unfortunate. That's the way the system works. And I know how the analytics people look at this, and they say, look, we don't want a Miguel Cabrera. We don't want an Albert Pujols. We don't want to have, a Robbie Cano. We don't want to have somebody at the tail end of their contract for 2 years making $80 million.
Yeah, right,
that's
of course.
That's basically what they don't want, and that's what they're trying to avoid.
Yeah, but I still think there's going to be somebody who comes through with maybe not as long-term of a deal, but that money is going to be significant for the shorter term. And that's what I think, more teams are willing to do now, as opposed to stretching out that money if you can afford it, if it makes sense, if it doesn't impact the rest of the team as much. Let's go more 5-6 year range and then knock that average annual value up, as opposed to then paying him a exorbitant salary when he's in his 39th year.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody goes like, say, 5 years, $250 million. I don't know if anybody would do that.
Oh man,
I don't. I mean, but that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. Now maybe not that much. Maybe not $50 million a year. But
how about 5 years, $200 million?
Yeah, I mean that would be
Now that's still not more than what Scherzer's making right now.
Sure, that's right. But we're talking longer term though than what Scherzer's got.
Right, and let me ask you. Well, Scherzer essentially signed a 3-year deal, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right, he may have an option. Somebody may have an option there, but so let's say he goes 5 years. $45 million. That number, obviously, helps everybody else in the business, because his average salary, somewhere, if it averages around $45 to $50 million, that helps everybody. But it's still, for him, while it's short-term security because the numbers are so big, he would like to see a contract that would go out until his 38th, 39th, or 40th birthday.
Oh, of course, that's probably what he wants. But, I mean, he can also look at it like, okay, if I get a contract to 35 and I continue on this trajectory and I stay healthy, I mean, he bet on himself once and he's going to get another contract at that point, too. So, I mean, I think he would take a guaranteed $200 million, even though he did turn down a guaranteed $230-something million. So maybe not. I don't know. So I don't know what he's thinking.
$237 million.
Yeah.
That was like the 7-year extension, right?
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah.
So it was about $34 million per?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's just looking for the respect of the average annual value, or maybe he's looking to get paid for as long as possible. I'm not sure. But it's something we're going to find out sooner than later, and I still cannot believe that we are going into this thing a couple days from now, and the Yankees are not off this $17 million
that it wasn't today. I was calling today Judgment Day.
Well, they postponed it. Yeah, they postponed it. It was.
So who postponed it?
I don't know. I don't know why or how it got postponed, but it was pushed back a couple of days. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at this Puffin cereal. Where the hell do you get this stuff?
Citarella.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yes.
I've never seen it. Have you guys ever heard or seen of this puffin cereal?
I think they have it at like Whole Foods as well.
Yeah, they may have it at Whole Foods too.
Okay. So it's
You got to
bougie
try
cereal.
it. It's actually pretty good.
So we're talking bougie cereal is what we're talking about here.
It tastes good.
Barbara's Puffins.
I finally have, like I said, my taste buds back.
Yeah.
But I think it was more because my congestion's, I know it doesn't sound like it, but the congestion's kind of going away.
Well, that's good. Good. That's great.
I struggled through the sports minutes this morning, so.
All right. I'm sure
Eddie
Eddie's got...
said my voice got better as the show went on yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Thinking back. So, yeah, you got to get into it. You got to warm up, man. You know, you got to get all lubricated.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get all lubed up. That's right. And by the way, just so you know, I told you that I wouldn't do what I did yesterday morning before the show.
Yeah, right.
I only did half of what I did yesterday morning.
Yeah, so, you called me and you said I took a C4 and a 5-hour energy before the show yesterday, so I apologize for being shot out of a cannon and interrupting you guys and all of that stuff. And
I didn't want to do that again today, so I did apologize to you after the game, but I didn't know because I knew I'm a little bit lethargic still, but I need a little bit of energy, and, man, I didn't realize how much energy I was going to get.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as I said, it's better to have too much than not enough, in my opinion. So if you got to go, which one did you do, the C4 or the 5-hour energy?
I did the 5-hour this morning.
All right. Yeah, add the C4 into it. Do it again. Who cares? Let's go.
So how was your event last night?
Oh, it was awesome. So it was the Navy SEAL golf fundraiser for the Navy SEAL Museum, the Michael Murphy Navy SEAL Museum. And it was at Baiting Hollow Golf Club. So it was, it was tremendous. And
that place is pretty nice, right?
Oh, it was beautiful. And by the way, you were saying like, as a look into, maybe joining a club like that or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's $250,000 to join. I'm pretty sure.
There, I don't know.
I think so.
There, I don't know.
That's what
maybe it is. I don't know if they. I could have got.
That's what somebody told me.
There might have been some pressure over the last 2 or 3 years, COVID-wise, to join clubs like that because there was the only thing to do is to be either outside on your bike or inside on your Peloton or outside on the golf course.
Yeah.
So I know that they were looking for members a number of years ago, maybe 3 or 4. That may have changed with the popularity rise in golf and golf clubs. So I'm not sure about that number.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I asked somebody and they were pretty confident in it. But
I thought
who
it was
knows?
like a semi-private, but I'm not really in tune on all that. All I know is that it's a beautiful place.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely gorgeous. So it was an honor to be a part of it. And they're opening up the museum. Grand opening.
Great.
Of the Michael Murphy Navy SEAL Museum and Sea Cadet Training Center next week on June 28th, which is the anniversary of Michael and his other Navy SEALs passing in Afghanistan. So it's going to be a very, very emotional day. There's a video from George W. Bush that I'm going to get to introduce. Obviously, he was the president at the time. So that's going to be very emotional and also a big celebration because a lot of hard work went into it. So next year, maybe the two of us playing this. That's what I was asked a million times yesterday.
Well, the thing about it is I would love to. And I have next week on the 28th, I have my event up in New Hampshire.
Right.
That I've had for the last 16 years.
Right.
And, of course, we have the Keith Hernandez event that we were invited to at Citi Field celebrating Keith's life and career.
Yeah.
That unfortunately we can't make. And now, obviously, you're going to be in one place. I'm going to be in another place. And Keith Hernandez will be at Citi Field. And they will be celebrating Keith, and rightfully so. And unfortunately, we couldn't be together on the 28th of June.
Right, unfortunately. But maybe next year we'll play in that golf outing. We'll see what happens. It's a year from now, so we will see. But it was a great event last night. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.